Okay, summer school students. Let's jump right into it. You've got your companion document there, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're diving deep today into some really key vocabulary words from inside it.
Yep.
Our mission, well, it's not just about learning definitions, though we'll cover those.
Right. It's more than that.
Exactly. We want you to really get how these words function. Are they verbs driving the action, nouns naming things, adjectives adding color, or adverbs giving detail?
And crucially, why they matter for understanding everything in your summer book.
Precisely.
Think of it like getting the keys, keys to unlock deeper meaning in what you're reading and hearing this summer.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, these words, they aren't just a list, they're the building blocks. Blocks for complex ideas for the stories themselves.
And the companion is packed with tools to help you master them.
Absolutely. Showing you the words in action, especially within your summer book, it's all there.
Okay, so let's start where the energy is with the action words, the verbs.
Good place to start.
In your companion, you'll often see these marked with a little V for verb.
Right. And our first one from the companion is accelerate.
Accelerate.
The definition given is basically if a process accelerates or if something accelerates it, it happens faster than usual or sooner than you expect.
Right, so it's all about speeding things up, picking up the pace.
Exactly.
And this word definitely shows up in the summer book, doesn't it? Can you give us a sense of how?
Oh, absolutely. You might see accelerate when the book talks about how quickly, say, a social change is happening.
Okay.
The companion might show a sentence, maybe something like, the spread of the rumor accelerated rapidly,
Yeah.
Showing that sudden speed increase.
Got it.
And what's really interesting, I think, is the related noun form, acceleration. It's marked in the companion.
Okay.
It turns that action of speeding up into a thing. The rate of speed itself.
So you can talk about the acceleration of something.
Precisely. The acceleration of technological change, for instance. That's the rate things are speeding up. And your companion, well, gives you the pronunciation, shows you common word partners, collocations they call them,
Right.
and points you right to where you see it in the summer book. And maybe other video examples too.
That switch from the action to the concept, that's really useful.
Okay, so speeding up is one thing, but sometimes things are stopped completely.
Right. Which brings us to our next verb, ban.
Ban?
Marked. V again.
Yep. And it means to say officially that something must not be done, used, etc. It's about official prohibition.
Like making something illegal. Or just forbidden.
Exactly.
Where might we see this in the summer book?
Well, you could find ban when the book talks about authorities prohibiting maybe certain types of gatherings or activities.
Makes sense.
For instance, the companion might point to a sentence like, the council voted to ban public assemblies after dark. It shows that direct action of stopping something by rule. And just like accelerate ban also works as a noun, also mark N. It refers to the prohibition itself. They imposed a strict ban.
Okay.
And you get the same helpful stuff in the companion pronunciation, collocations, examples from your book.
Okay, so from official stops to, well, physical failure, let's talk about collapse.
Collapse. The definition is, if a building, wall, etc. collapses, it falls down suddenly, usually because it is weak or damaged.
Right. A sudden, often quite dramatic failure.
Definitely. It makes you think of something just giving way, maybe under pressure.
Yeah. How is this used in the book? Is it always literal buildings?
Not necessarily. That's a great point. The summer book might not be focused on collapsing buildings, but collapse is often used metaphorically.
Ah, okay. Like what?
Your companion might show an example where maybe a system or a plan fails dramatically, like negotiations between the rival factions threaten to collapse.
I see. Captures that sense of sudden, maybe irreversible failure.
Exactly. And the related forms are collapse, the noun, and the event itself, and collapsed, the adjective, describing something that has fallen, like a collapsed bridge or even a collapsed plan.
Gotcha. The companion details are there for context, as always.
As always.
That's a really good example of how a word can have a literal meaning, but also be used, figuratively.
Absolutely.
Speaking of things going down, but maybe less suddenly, decline.
Decline, defined as to decrease in quantity or importance. So this is more gradual, right? Unlike the suddenness of collapse.
Right. Getting smaller or maybe losing significance over time. How does this play out in the book's themes?
Oh, this verb is often quite crucial in the summer book, especially when discussing trends or conditions changing over time.
Okay.
You might see it in a sentence pulled by your companion like, support for the old traditions began to decline. It shows that steady weakening or reduction.
Mm-hmm.
And the companion also lists decline as a noun, referring to the decrease itself. You might talk about a sharp decline in population. And also declining as an adjective, describing something in the process of decreasing, like a declining economy.
All from one root word.
Exactly. And your companion gives you the pronunciation, collocations, showing what commonly declines, support, numbers, health, and where you can spot it in your book.
Okay. How about getting rid of things entirely? Eliminate.
Eliminate. V means to completely get rid of something that is unnecessary or unwanted.
So removal often sounds quite permanent. Wiping something out.
It can be, yeah.
Is this about removing obstacles or maybe even people in the book?
In the context of your summer book, eliminate often comes up in strategic discussions or maybe problem-solving situations.
Right.
A sentence from the companion might be something like, they sought to eliminate obstacles hindering their progress.
Yeah.
Or it could refer to removing a threat or a disadvantage.
Okay.
The related noun is elimination. N, which is the act of removing something like the elimination of waste.
Makes sense. And again, pronunciation, collocations.
It's like eliminate competition and examples. All in the companion.
Now, expand. This one's interesting because the companion notes a couple of key meanings. Shows how flexible words can be.
It really does.
Yeah.
The first definition for expand is to express at length or in greater detail.
Like when a teacher asks you to expand on your answer.
Exactly that. It's about communication, elaborating.
Okay.
But the second definition is maybe more physical or conceptual, become or make larger or more extensive.
Like something growing in size or scope.
Precisely.
So where do we see these different meanings popping up in the summer book?
Well, both can appear. You might see the first meaning when a character, say, in dialogue, is asked to expand on their earlier statement.
Right.
The second meaning is probably very common when talking about growth. Maybe the community began to expand or they decided to expand their operations, something like that.
Okay.
And the companion gives you related forms like expansion and the act of growing. It's expanding, describing something that is growing, and expanded, adjuncting, for something that has been made larger.
Lots of forms.
Yep. And the companion provides pronunciation, different collocations depending on which meaning expand on an idea versus expand a business.
Right, different prepositions, too.
Exactly. An example showing both in action in your book. It's a great example of one word really doing double duty.
It is. Okay. From growing things to starting them from scratch. Found.
Found. This means to start something such as an organization, company, school, or city.
So establishing something, usually something formal or significant.
That's the idea. Being the original creator or builder of an institution or place.
How might this relate to the book's setting or maybe its history?
Well, the summer book might reference historical events or the origins of a place or maybe a group within the story.
Okay.
You could easily see found in the sentence like, the city was founded by settlers 2 centuries ago. Or perhaps they decided to found a new society based on different principles.
I see.
And the related noun forms are useful too. Foundation. N, which can be the base, literally or figuratively, or even an organization itself, like a charitable foundation. And founder, N, who is the person doing the founding.
Right, and the companion will have
Pronunciation, collocations like found a university,
Yeah.
and examples from the book showing you exactly how it's used there.
Okay. The next verb, release, seems to have a specific emotional angle in this list.
It does, yeah. The definition for release in your companion focuses specifically on to express or get rid of feelings such as anger or worry.
Okay. So not like releasing a prisoner from jail.
No, not that kind of release here.
More like releasing tension or frustration, letting it out.
Exactly. Letting go of those internal burdens.
Way does this come into play in the book's emotional landscape?
Well, characters in the summer book likely deal with some intense emotions, right?
Probably.
So the companion likely shows examples where maybe a character needs to release their pent-up frustration or finds a way to release their worries. The noun form is also release, N. It refers to the act or even the feeling of letting go. You might feel a sense of release.
Companion provides.
Pronunciation, collocations like release tension, and examples pointing to those emotional moments in your book.
And finally, for our verbs, we have violate.
Violate.
A V.
This means to disobey or do something against an official agreement, law, principle, etc.
So breaking rules. Going against established standards, breaking a law, or maybe an agreement.
That's it.
How does this word capture conflict or, transgression in the book?
Well, conflict in the summer book often arises because rules are broken, right?
True.
So you might see sentences like, his actions clearly violated the terms of the treaty, or perhaps they felt the new policy violated their basic rights. It really pinpoints a specific act of transgression.
Okay.
And the related noun is violation N, which is the act itself, or an instance of it, like a clear violation of the rules.
Got it. Companion provides pronunciation.
Collocations like violate human rights, and examples showing exactly where and how rules are broken in your book.
Wow. Okay, that's a really dynamic collection of verbs we've just covered.
It is, isn't it?
They describe everything from speeding up and building to falling apart and breaking rules. So if we connect this to the bigger picture, what do these verbs tell us about the summer book?
Well, what's fascinating here, I think, is that these verbs describe the core actions. The process is driving the plot, driving the conflicts in your summer book.
Right.
Knowing the verb lets you identify what is actually happening. Who is accelerating something? What is collapsing? What rules are being violated?
It's the engine of the sentence, really.
Exactly. And the companion, by showing you these verbs in context, helps you see those crucial actions the author is describing. And that's just vital for understanding the whole narrative.
Okay, well, moving on from the actions, let's talk about the things, the concepts, the people involved. Let's look at some key nouns from the companion, usually marked with an N.
Sounds good. Our first main noun here is decade.
Decade.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward definition, right?
Pretty just 10 years.
Just a specific chunk of time. How does thinking in terms of decades help us understand the summer book, though?
Well, the summer book might cover events happening over several decades. Or maybe it contrasts different time periods.
Okay.
So the companion might show a sentence like, the social landscape changed dramatically over the past 2 decades. Using decade helps measure and describe change across those significant periods.
Right. And the companion has
Pronunciation,
Yeah.
common collocations,
Yeah.
the Roaring Twenties or a lost decade, and points out where it appears in the book's timeline.
Okay. Next noun. Incident.
Incident, defined as an event, especially one that is unusual, important, or violent. So a discrete happening.
Something that occurs, particularly if it's significant, maybe disruptive.
Exactly.
How does the book use this word?
The summer book might use incident to refer to specific noteworthy events that really shape the story. Maybe a confrontation, a discovery, perhaps a turning point. The companion can show something like, this was not the first incident of unrest in the region. It signals a specific, often kind of isolated event within a larger context.
Gotcha. Companion provides.
Pronunciation, collocations like border incident, minor incident, and examples highlighting those key events in the book.
Okay. Loyalty.
Loyalty,
Yeah.
defined as a feeling of support for someone or something. It's about faithfulness, allegiance.
Like loyalty between friends, maybe? Or loyalty to a cause?
Both, yeah.
Yeah.
Why is this concept important in the summer book?
Well, loyalty is often a major theme in stories, isn't it? Deals with relationships, factions, ideals. I imagine it's relevant.
Very likely. The companion might show a sentence where maybe a character's loyalty is tested, where someone shows unwavering loyalty to a leader or a group.
Okay.
And their related forms are loyal, the adjective describing someone who has this quality,
Right.
and disloyal, the opposite adjective.
Makes sense. Companion gives.
Pronunciation, collocations like fierce loyalty, and examples that probably show the bonds and maybe even betrayals in the book.
Okay. Phenomenon. That sounds significant.
It does, yeah. Phenomenon N is defined as a fact or situation that is observed to exist or happen, especially one whose cause or explanation is in question.
So something you can see or observe happening, but maybe it's a bit unusual or mysterious.
That's the core idea.
How does the book use this?
Well, the summer book might use phenomenon to describe something that characters observe that's maybe difficult to understand. Could be a strange social trend, a natural event, even a psychological state.
Interesting.
The companion might show, for example, the sudden shift in public opinion was a puzzling phenomenon. See how it frames something as a notable event that needs explaining?
Yeah, I do. Companion has.
Pronunciation, collocations like social phenomenon, natural phenomenon, and examples describing those puzzling things observed in your book.
Okay. Tension.
Tension, defined as a nervous, worried feeling that makes it impossible for you to relax. But it can also mean
What's
a a state of strained relations between groups.
Ah, right. So that feeling of anxiety or stress or maybe conflict simmering between people or groups.
Both are common meanings, yeah.
How does this noun capture the mood of the book, maybe?
Well, tension is one of those words that immediately signals a certain atmosphere, doesn't it?
It really does.
So in the summer book, you might encounter descriptions of growing tension between characters or between groups, or maybe a character feeling internal tension.
Okay.
The companion might show an uneasy tension filled the room. It captures that feeling of unease, whether it's personal or collective.
Right. And the related form.
Is tense, the adjective.
Yeah.
The J. Describing someone feeling this way or a situation like a tense moment.
Got it. Companion provides.
Pronunciation, collocations like political tension, nervous tension, and examples illustrating the stress and conflict in the book.
Okay. And finally, for the nouns on this list, discrimination.
Discrimination.
Yeah.
Defined as the practice of treating one person or group differently from another in an unfair way.
Unfair treatment based on differences. A heavy topic. Is this a theme in the summer book?
Well, this word is absolutely crucial if the summer book deals with things like social inequality or prejudice.
Right.
The companion will likely show examples describing maybe systemic discrimination against a particular group, or perhaps an act of discrimination in hiring or housing. It names that unfair practice itself.
Okay. And related forms.
There's discriminate, the verb V, the action of treating someone unfairly,
Yeah.
and discriminatory, the adjective,
Oh.
describing unfair laws or practices like discriminatory policies.
Okay. Companion includes.
Pronunciation, collocations like racial discrimination, gender discrimination, and examples showing how prejudice and unfair treatment are depicted in the book.
Right. These nouns really give us the names, the labels for the things and ideas and feelings that are central to the story. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. If we connect this to the bigger picture, how do these nouns relate back to the verbs we just discussed?
Ah, that's a great question. What's fascinating is how often nouns represent the participants in the verb's actions,
Okay.
or sometimes the results of those actions. Think about it. A violation, N, is the outcome when someone violates V,
Ah.
or tension, N, might lead characters to act, V, in certain ways. Nouns provide the labels for everything in the book's world. The people, the places, the abstract concepts like loyalty or discrimination.
So understanding the nouns is key to knowing the who, what, and why.
Absolutely essential. Your companion is your guide to seeing these crucial labels in action.
Okay, fantastic. Now let's add some description, some detail with adjectives. These words, often marked with adject in the companion, tell us more about those nouns we just talked about.
Right, time for description. Our first adjective is brief.
Brief, adject definition.
Short, using very few words or including few details.
Like a brief meeting or a brief pause. Simple enough. How does this shape our understanding in the book?
Well, it seems simple, but brief is important for conveying duration or length.
Okay.
The companion might show they exchanged a brief glance, or maybe the ceasefire was brief. It tells you something didn't last long.
Mm-hmm. And the related adverb.
Is briefly adverse. It tells you how something was done in a short way. He spoke briefly.
Got it. Companion has.
Pronunciation, collocations like brief visit, and examples of how the book uses it to describe short moments or descriptions.
Okay. Next. Brutal.
Brutal, defined as very cruel and violent. This is a strong one.
Definitely. Describing something extremely harsh or severe. Where might we see this in the summer book?
Well, if the summer book contains conflict or hardship, brutal will likely make an appearance.
Right.
The companion could show examples like brutal treatment or maybe a brutal winter. It vividly describes something incredibly harsh or violent.
And the related noun?
Is brutality.
Yeah.
The quality or an instance of being brutal, like acts of brutality.
Okay. Companion provides.
Pronunciation, collocations like brutal attack, and examples painting those vivid, harsh pictures in your book.
Right. Contemporary.
Contemporary, defined as belonging to the present time, modern.
Like contemporary art or contemporary issues, things from now or relatively recently. Yeah. How does this word ground the book in a specific time?
Well, it helps set the time frame, especially if the book is set in the, recent past or the present.
Okay.
The companion might show it used to describe contemporary society or contemporary challenges. It places the context firmly in the current era, or the era being discussed as now.
Got it. Companion includes.
Pronunciation, collocations like contemporary art, contemporary literature, and examples showing where the book refers to its present day or relevant present setting.
Crucial.
Crucial. Defined as extremely important because everything else depends on it. Vital.
Ah, okay. Like a crucial decision. Or a crucial piece of evidence. Why is this word such a signal for the reader?
Because when you see crucial in the summer book, it's like the author's putting up a flag.
A flag.
Yeah, saying, pay attention, this part is very important. It signals something essential to the plot or the themes.
Okay.
The companion could show sentences like, making that alliance was a crucial step, or maybe they discovered a crucial piece of information.
Right. Flags it as essential, and the adverb form
Is crucially, meaning in an extremely important way, crucially, they failed to secure the border.
Got it. Companion has?
Pronunciation, collocations like crucial factor, and examples highlighting those most important elements in your book.
Isolated.
Isolated. Adjective defined as an isolated action, event, example, etc., happens only once and is not likely to happen again.
It really means
Standing alone.
Yeah.
Separate.
so something separate, maybe not part of a bigger pattern.
Yeah.
How is this used in the book?
Well, the summer book might use isolated to describe events that are seen as rare, maybe unconnected to other things. Or it could describe a character who is alone, physically or emotionally.
Okay.
The companion could show they dismissed the incident as isolated, trying to downplay it maybe, or she felt completely isolated. It emphasizes that separateness, that lack of connection.
Related form.
There's isolation in the state of being alone, and isolated, the action of separating something or someone.
Great. Companion gives.
Pronunciation,
Yeah.
collocations like isolated incident, isolated village, and examples showing that separateness in your book.
Okay. Inevitable.
Inevitable.
Yeah.
So defined as certain to happen and impossible to avoid. It suggests destiny, maybe.
Certainty.
Like something that is definitely going to happen no matter what you do.
Mhm.
How does this word build anticipation or tension in the book?
Oh, inevitable is a really powerful word for foreshadowing or just explaining outcomes in the summer book.
The companion might show examples like the conflict seemed inevitable, or perhaps his downfall was inevitable. It creates this sense of fate,
It does.
And the companion even lists its opposite, evitable, adjunct, meaning avoidable, which just highlights how strong the meaning of inevitable is.
Interesting. Companion has.
Pronunciation, collocations like inevitable, consequence, and examples where the book really highlights those unavoidable events.
Notorious.
Notorious,
So,
defined simply as famous or well known for something.
okay, but usually for something bad, right? Not like a famous actor.
Exactly. That's the key nuance. It's fame, but for negative reasons.
Yep.
Infamy, really.
Right. How is it used in the book?
In the summer book, the companion could show it used to describe characters, or maybe places, known for negative deeds, like a notorious criminal or the city's notorious slums. It signals a bad reputation.
Okay. Companion includes?
Pronunciation, collocations like notorious gangster, and examples highlighting those negatively famous elements in your book.
Right.
Rival, adjective defined as of a person, company, thing, etc., competing with another person, company, thing, etc. So it describes something involved in competition.
Describing competing groups or ideas. How does this capture conflict in the book?
Well, conflict is often driven by rivalry, isn't it?
True.
So in the summer book, the companion could show examples referring to rival gangs or rival ideologies, maybe rival claims to power. It immediately tells you there are opposing forces competing against each other.
And this one has several related forms listed in the companion too, right?
It does. There's rival, the noun, N, meaning the competitor. There's rivalry, the noun N, meaning the state of competition itself. And you can even use rival as a verb V, meaning to compete with, like, no one could rival her skill.
Wow. Versatile word. Companion provides.
Pronunciation, collocations like rival gangs, bitter rivalry, and examples showing all that competition in your book.
Okay, and finally for our adjectives list, widespread.
Widespread. Defined as existing or happening in many places or situations or among many people. It's about broad distribution.
Like widespread support or widespread problem
Yeah.
affecting many areas or people. How does this word indicate the scale of something in the book?
Exactly. Widespread is used in the summer book to show that something isn't limited, that it's common or affects a large area or large population.
Okay.
The companion could show examples like widespread discontent among the people, or maybe a widespread disease. It tells you the phenomenon isn't just a local issue, it's affecting many.
Right. Companion provides.
Pronunciation, collocations like widespread damage, and examples showing the scale of things in your book.
Wow, okay. These adjectives really do add color and detail to the story. They paint a picture, as they say.
They really do. Adjectives allow the author to describe the characteristics of all those nouns we discussed. Is something brief, or is it brutal? Is it contemporary or crucial? Isolated or widespread?
Shapes our perception.
Completely. Shapes our perception and understanding of the people, the places, the events. And the companion, by showing these adjectives in context right from the summer book, helps you see exactly what the author wants you to notice and how they're describing the world of the book.
Okay, finally, let's look at the adverbs. Words that modify verbs, adjectives, or even other adverbs, often telling us how, when, or where. The companion lists at least one primary adverb entry, marked with adv.
That's right. The main adverb listed is mutually.
Mutually. What's the definition?
It means felt or done by two or more people or groups in the same way, shared action or feeling.
Like mutually beneficial, good for both sides, or mutually agreed upon. How is this word used in the book, describing interactions?
Precisely. Mutually is used in the summer book to describe shared actions or feelings or agreements between characters or groups.
Okay.
The companion could show examples like they came to a mutually acceptable solution, or perhaps their respect was mutually felt. It highlights that the action or feeling is reciprocal. It goes both ways.
Right. And the related adjective.
Is mutual. Adjective. Describing something that is shared or reciprocal, like a mutual friend or mutual respect.
Got it. Companion has.
Pronunciation. Collocations like mutually exclusive, meaning they can't both exist. And examples showing those shared interactions in your book.
Okay.
And it's worth just quickly noting, as your companion shows with other words, that many adverbs we saw briefly and crucially, you might see severely related to the adjective severe, are often formed just by adding muckly to the adjective.
Right. Telling you how an action is performed.
Exactly. Based on the quality described by the adjective.
Mutually understood. Okay, so wrapping this part up, what does understanding all these different word types, the verbs, nouns, adjectives, adverbs, and how they work together, what does that allow us or you, the students, to do?
Well, if we connect this back to the bigger picture, mastering these different word types, using the companion as your guide, it's absolutely fundamental.
Fundamental to what?
To understanding sentence structure, first off, and getting a precise meaning. Verbs tell us the action. Nouns name the players and concepts. Adjectives describe them. Adverbs add detail about how or when or where.
Right. It all fits together.
It lets you process those complex sentences you find in your summer book. Not just knowing what individual words mean, but how they function together, how they create that complete picture of who is doing what, how it's being done, and what the things involved are actually like.
Okay, so we've looked at definitions, we've looked at word forms, seen glimpses of how they're used in the summer book thanks to the companion. But the companion offers even more tools, right, to help you really master these words.
Oh, absolutely. That's what's really fascinating here. For every single word we've talked about, and others in there, the companion also provides pronunciation guides.
So you can say them right.
Exactly. And lists of common collocations, those words that naturally hang out together, which is so key to using vocabulary correctly, sounding natural.
Yeah, knowing which words go with other words.
Precisely. And crucially, multiple examples of the word used in context, particularly drawn from your summer book text itself, and maybe accompanying video material, too.
It really is like getting a full toolkit for each word, then.
It is.
Pronunciation helps you speak it, collocations help you use it naturally, and seeing it in real sentences from the book and maybe videos helps you truly grasp its meaning and how it's used in different situations.
Exactly right. These features, they're designed to move you beyond just knowing a definition on a page.
Right.
To actively using and understanding these words when you encounter them in real, authentic language.
Right.
It just makes your reading and listening so much more effective.
This deep dive into just a few key words from the companion really shows how much depth there is to explore for each entry, doesn't it?
It really does. And understanding those different forms of a word, you know, how accelerate the verb becomes acceleration, the noun, or how loyal the adjective relates to loyalty, the noun, and then seeing how they're actually used in real sentences from your summer book, which the companion helps you do.
Yeah.
It truly does accelerate your ability to understand and use these words yourself.
So what does this all mean for you, our summer school students? What's the takeaway?
It means every single word in that companion document isn't just a word to memorize.
It's a doorway.
Exactly. A doorway to deeper understanding, much better comprehension of your summer book, and just more effective communication overall.
Think about it. If a single core idea can show up as a verb or noun or an adjective, fundamentally changing its job in the sentence, how much richer and more precise can your understanding become? And your own expression, too, just by recognizing and maybe using these variations.
That's a powerful thought. It really expands your linguistic toolkit.
So we definitely encourage you to keep exploring your companion, really dig into all the features it offers for each word. Don't skip those context examples from the summer book.
Absolutely. And as you continue reading, continue engaging with your materials this summer, actively notice these words. Don't just glide past them.
Pause for a second.
Yeah, pause and observe how they're being used. Is it the verb, driving the action? Is it the noun, naming that central concept? Is it the adjective, adding a crucial detail? Or the adverb, modifying how something happened?
Being an active reader, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here's something to think about as we wrap up.
Okay.
Consider how knowing the different forms and contexts of a word doesn't just expand your vocabulary list, just adding more words, but how it fundamentally changes how you analyze and maybe even appreciate the structure and the power of language itself within the text you're reading. It's not just about what words mean, but how they work.